All right, welcome to the February 5th meeting of Agentic Networking subproject for SIG Network in Kubernetes. General reminders, this Kubernetes project, that means we abide by Kubernetes and CNCF code of conducts. In general, that just means please be nice. If you do have something to say, please use Zoom's raise hand feature. That helps us make sure that we get to everyone. And please, everyone is welcome to speak. Don't feel, please don't be shy. And it's an open agenda. I dropped a link into chat earlier. Please, if you've got something to talk about that's kind of a bigger topic, add it to the agenda. We've got a relatively light agenda. I've said this before and been completely wrong, but this one feels like we'll have some extra time at the end. We're missing some folks today, so it may be a little bit lighter. And for the folks that are here, we do like to track who's able to make it to this meeting time. So if you don't mind adding your name to the list of attendees, that's really helpful. And with that, let me hand it off to Hayan.
Yeah. So the first one, I just want to follow up on the access policy targeting gateway. Follow up with our discussion last week, I sent out a PR, and which is just a listing out the proposal and how we do the policy evaluation. And thank you, Guy and Rob, give the feedback. I think currently the only thing left open here is the wording, like currently regarding the support requirement, the PR says implementation must support access policy targeting gateway object. And we say the access policy targeting backend object, is optional. And then Guy point out maybe we also want to say the the access policy targeting gateway may also need to be like optional. Then we just need to have another requirement that you must support one of them. Yeah, Rob mentioned that we may want to just kind of do a survey on like what each implementation plans to do, like to help us to see whether we can avoid, have a very loose requirement here. I think today, I'm not sure, like us, I know Guy, I see several folks from IBM researcher. Maybe like Guy, on your side, do you think um, gateway oriented access policy will be more useful and necessary to what Red Hat is doing? Or it's the other way around?
No, I mean, I can't speak for the entire Red Hat. There are multiple things going on inside of Red Hat, but at least the projects are more closely related. I think gateway is going to be more of a thing than backend targeting for sure. The reason why I raised that comment was thinking on other implementations, to be fair, right? So I think this point has been raised before from people working on sidecar-based implementations, right? Hence, the comment. But I like the way that Rob proposed, working around the issue of in the doc. Actually, I gave it a thumbs up, right after I saw the comment, and at least from my side, I consider this to be a resolved discussion. I think. I mean, we can prevent from other implementations on trying different approaches for this kind of resource without having a gateway resource in the first place, right? But at the same time, Rob is right. I mean, it cannot be too loose. So I like the way he phrased it. So no objections. And the other point I had on how changing the target to gateway could possibly affect, the design of other parts of the spec, right? For example, where we have the inline tools, right? it used to make more easier to make sense of it when the target was a backend than now when it's the gateway. But I'm happy with the note that you added too. So other than that, I had many different
Yeah.
comments that I
Um,
left on the issue that I don't think we need to bring to the document. As long as we have it in the issue, I'm sure that at some point we have to reopen those questions. But for now, I think it's very good the work you did already in the PR.
cool. Then Rob, maybe we just keep this as is. And do you think we should on the Slack channel just maybe get opinion like from John to see with their implementation which one they would support, they would think is more necessary, or we just uh, you know, oh, you're muted, Rob.
I'm muted. I'm muted. I think it's fine to just do this. I don't think this is gonna this gives us maximum wiggle room essentially.
Okay.
Um and then like I said, this really only matters when it comes to conformance. So when we start getting around to conformance tests, we can revisit this and say, actually, we should just require this or that, whatever it is, we should have more signal by then. um, but yeah, I expect our reference implementation to support both. um, cool. Guy?
Yeah, I don't see why not adding exactly how you suggested and to the doc. I would just go ahead and add it there. Uh, the implementations must support either one or the other, or occasionally both, right? Uh, but I think, at least in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with having that in the document from the very start. Even though I agree with you, right? Until we get to the point of having conformance tests, right? It's not like we're validating anybody. But I think it's fair to have it from the very beginning in the doc.
Yeah, great. Okay, cool. And then the next one that we wanted to talk about was observability. I saw some conversation in Slack this morning. Hi on Evelyn. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Oh, Evelyn is here. So mostly, I think it seems the Guy and not Guy, David and Evelyn, wanted to do a POC in the observability part with the currently reference implementation or potentially the quick start. And I just want to firstly give a quick update on the image infra setup work we've been doing here. So I believe at this point, we are still waiting for the test infra work group to approve one of our PR to set up a prompt config so we can whenever we change the Docker file, Docker image for the ADK image and the MCP everything on that MCP server, we can automatically publish a new Docker image after the change got submitted. So that change probably today we can ping the test infra folks, and then after that we just need to do another image promotions and PR. That PR, we can approve ourselves. David and Leon, they both can approve it. So we should be able to get there either tomorrow or early next week. But if you guys want to test it out, so you want to get started today, we could potentially do it just give you a Docker image on like in Chuang, Docker Hub or somewhere, so you can just replace the image string and then kickstart from there. And either way is fine. But at this point, I think you know just let me know which one you prefer, and um, we'll see how we can help you in the best way.
Yeah, so I can give some quick thoughts as to what we were thinking with the idea. So at first, yeah, I think only yesterday we got the controller image, right? So I think I had the opportunity to try to quickly try it out. I think Gluer got to try it out. So my idea was, well, I have a few too many work streams going on, so I wanted to see how we could relate our quick start here to the Agentic platform we had already, specifically starting with the very simple idea of if we could swap out the agent even from the ADK. So that's why at first I was not sure whether to like make you or ask for the ADK image quite yet. But I think maybe my current take is it would be good to at least have that to start. So the idea is at least we can use an instrumented agent, at least in Kgent, we have agents that are already instrumented, and then we have the platform essentially to connect to the OpenTelemetry collector, to Phoenix, or to MLflow, so that we can ideally, if there are spans, we can quickly observe them. So that was the idea with like swapping out to a instrumented agent, and then the idea is okay for the group, we would get the feedback that like we can test out with the access policies can be applied to arbitrary agents, all of that show that with more than just one ADK agent, let's say. So hopefully there's benefit to both sides uh, of the groups here. And so at least when I first tried out the quick start, I tried it out kind of the other way, tried to see if we could just add the simple quick start parts like the access policies, everything up to the agent to our platform. I actually ended up with two Envoy proxies in like both the quick start namespace and the gateway system. So I haven't had a lot of time to figure out if like that's not a problem, is a problem, any conflicts, all of that. So I thought that was interesting behavior. So from there, I might have to swap out the other way, like see if we can add the KGNT portions, like the agent, the open telemetry collector, like Phoenix or MLflow, any of those observabilities to the quick start. But I was thinking that's a bit less ideal because there's a lot more moving parts there to set up.
Nice.
So I don't know if like the double Envoy proxy has been seen in other ways because I had a bunch more namespaces going on than I
Yeah.
think when Gluar just ran the quick start, he ended up with one expected Envoy proxy. Um,
Mm. Yeah. Do you mind send, kind of send out a in the chat on Slack, maybe
mhm,
describe the problem? If needed, we can also, have a meeting separately later today or tomorrow, and we can debug. I mean, if your first goal is just to swap out the agent part,
mhm,
then I can suggest you just use one backend for now. You can use the deep wiki. That's a remote server. They do not even
mhm.
require a Docker image. So you can get at least avoid the MCP everything Docker image problem. And on the KGNT side, what's the ADK you guys use? Is KGNT itself also ADK? Sorry, ask this dumb question, Key, okay? So yeah, maybe give me more like information there because I didn't realize KGNT is can
It's
develop
just it's just A2A agent. It's not really like these are all, it's not really, it's more like just an example agent that already we have the setup to talk to like MCP tools or like an MCP gateway. So the idea was ideally we could swap out the links to the other things, right? So we have an agent talking to, let's say, our MCP gateway from Guy's team today. If we could swap, in this case, like swap out the Envoy to Envoy proxy, other gateway, anything, then the, we can easily show on one side, okay, like there's a lot of flexibility and also test out like the access policies can that we're developing here can apply. So it's all that to say it's just like a simple like agent that talks A to A today. It's like the particular implementation is not super special. I'm not
yeah.
even choosing like a particular agent here. Our simplest one is one that like can talk to a weather tool, let's say, and like ask for the weather. The implementation is not super interesting.
Yeah, sounds good. Anyway, either file or GitHub issue or ask on the Slack chat. I'll definitely will spend some time help you to see whether I can unblock you in any way. And yeah, it'd be nice to see, because today the quick start is using ADK. It'd be nice to
Mhm,
see there's a other agent developed by other like a
mhm,
Kate can work with the framework we have here.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, Gloria cut.
no, it's nice. I also want to add a bit of context. So from what Evelyn did by sort of trying to bring Cogenti and the quick start together, I, from past pains, I've had to learn I just started a whole new client cluster and then tried to do the quick start myself. And I was able to observe that it's only one envoy proxy. And in the same vein, I think it would also be good for like the Kagenti one. We try to make sure that you can be able to sort of bring your own model. And in this case, we use like an Olama model locally to be able to develop and test it really quickly. It would be also great to be able to do so with the quick start, where we can, instead of doing a Google AI Studio, we can just plug in our own model as well. So that's another, like, I think, good goal we can be able to demonstrate it to the community in that way. Yeah. But yes, more than willing to jump on a call maybe this week or early next week.
Yeah, I don't mind meetings on Friday, so we can totally do it tomorrow. Today, I have lots of internal meeting.
Yeah,
We may
today
not
is
be the
also
best.
hard for me, but yeah, I
Yeah,
can.
Likewise, yeah. For
Friday,
Friday.
I'm happy meet on Friday. Okay, we can set up something on Slack. Just arrange something.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Awesome. This is I am probably going to be completely off base here, but what I think about observability, I think what we're looking at is trying to capture logs and send them. Like, am I right that this is trying to, one, ensure that we have structured logs in a format that we expect, and then that they can be captured in some central place? Am I completely off base? I'm sorry, I haven't been following this side as much.
I think we were, at least my focus was more on the tracing that we had
Yeah.
documented in the proposal so far.
Okay.
So I think we
Yeah.
we were easily able to like transform spans to like the Gen AI spans. And so we can probably see that easily from the agent, how we can make sure the agent calling the LLMs and then calling the tools, if we can make sure all those traces are aggregated together and like
Yeah. Okay.
under one trace ID is at least my focus so far.
Great. Okay. Cool. Sorry, go ahead. Sure.
And I guess also from a broader context to expand that to what we're already doing with the agentic, like the networking controller, so that if as we're getting those spans and are happening at the gateway level, we can be able to get more visibility to like maybe wasn't able to call this tool because of this policy that was applied and it failed.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing those
Yep.
logs in.
Yep. Yep. That would be amazing if we could get those two together somehow. Yeah. Great. Okay. Guy, I think you're last up.
Thanks. That's going to be super quick, I promise. It's just an update on the implementation for dynamic authorization. Just to say that, as some of you may have seen, I already started working on the sub issues we have, right? The first one is kind of a preparation for the other ones, where we're adding a type field for the authorization, right? Whereas today we only have one way to represent the tools that a principal can access, which is by listing the tool by name in line. The idea is that at some point we will also have other types, so we're turning that into an enum typed field, right? So there's a pull request that I sent a few hours ago, so my morning, and I'm already working on the next one, which would be the first, second type of authorization or way to express authorization, which is external authorization, right? So I'm working on it and planning sometime next week, to have draft pull requests to push.
Okay, that makes sense. I was confused for a second because I was like, well, what else is in the enum? And now, yeah, okay. So this
And
is
nothing else. Yeah.
okay. All
Yeah,
right.
it's an enum that can only enumerate one option.
Do you, so this is within the context of a rule. I mean, I mean, actually it's relevant here too. I've been curious, like, does XAuth fit more cleanly at a, like, how often do you see it happening? Is it per rule, or is it just like at a higher level per
Yeah,
policy?
I think we actually got that question when in the pull request for the proposal itself, and I think it's a fair question. I think both things could work, right? Where we could have like a single access policy that's all about the call out, right, and nothing else. Meaning, we're delegating the decision to this external service here. But because of the matching part from the source, right? I can also see why one could treat it differently dependent on the source, right? And say, for example, for these principles here, I'm going to do inline authorization and only delegate, to an external authorization service for these other ones, right? So when the sources do not match the, let's say, a smaller group. So I can see cases for both, and it's really up for us to decide. I started with per rule because I found it to be simpler and easy to modify both in the API and also in the implementation, right? The implementation I had in mind, and I actually made sure to add it there just in case people has something to comment on it, is basically copying Istio's implementation for external authorization, right? Istio has combines in the way it configures Envoy, since in our reference implementation it's all based on Envoy, right? It combines two Envoy filters to do external authorization. I don't know if people here in this call are familiar with the external authorization filter and Envoy, but it comes in two forms. You can have it at the level of the listener, or you can have per route configuration, right? For some reason, Istio decided not to do the per route one. So how did Istio manage to trigger external authorization only when specific routes match if they are not doing per route, right? They build on top of a specific feature of the RBAC filter, right? Which is configuring to so-called shadow mode. So the RBAC evaluates, but it's not enforced. That is an Envoy thing, right? All it does, it emits statistics of the filter being executed, and it propagates those statistics in the metadata. And then you have a listener level external authorization that only triggers based on the presence of those statistics. So that's what Istio did, right? It's quite ingenious, right? It's a clever way not having to deal with the problem of working out the routes, etc. And I was planning to do the same thing. And if that works out, right, the way I believe it could, that also means less changes to our reference implementation, right? We can build on top of the current RBAC filter that we have there. And so, and therefore also on keep on using the sources, right? Part of it. So if the sources are a match, then you trigger the second part, which in this case would be emitting statistics and triggering external authorization.
That's awesome.
If
Somehow
it doesn't
I'd
work,
never known.
yeah.
I'd never known that's how Istio does it. I'm somewhat familiar with X.Z and Envoy, but I hadn't known how Istio plumbed it together. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. It's
Okay.
not very intuitive, yeah, and it's hidden deep down in the Istio's code. But yeah, that's how they did it.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, thanks for this. I'll take a closer look later today, but cool to see the XDOF part coming together.
If it
Great.
doesn't work, right, I'll be the first one, to raise my hand and say, you know what, maybe we should rethink this, because if we cannot get it working, even in our reference implementation, right, I can think of different ways to do this, but I want to stick with the base code we have there, right?
Yeah.
Not have to resort to other fancy stuff like, dynamic modules or WASM or anything else, right?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And so then I see you've got this is just an issue.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then cell. Okay, I see. Okay. I got
Yeah.
it.
And there's also some level of support of cell in the RBAC filter and Envoy. So I'm hoping to also leverage that, for the implementation.
Okay. Great. Hayan?
Just want to make sure I understand the discussion regarding the rule level external auth and policy level external auth. It will start with the rule level and maybe later to, because originally we have the rule level as because we are having access policy targeting backends. So now we have access policy targeting gateway. So because like now we're talking about I just want to have this type of policy for all the traffic going through this gateway. It may make more sense just to let this whole access policy targeting gateway have a policy level external auth. So I do you think that makes sense? I'm not saying kill the rule level. Maybe at some point we may just need to support them at 2 level. Just depends on what's the target. If the target is a gateway, the policy level external auth seems making much more sense. It's more useful. And if the target is backend, maybe the rule level can be more useful. What do you think, Gay?
That's a very good question you're raising, and I'd have to think more about that. So far, I've been thinking on the implementation, the reference implementation as we have it today, which is based on a backend, and also even though obviously I was aware of the plans for supporting gateway as well, but I also took it as granted that we would continue to support backend level policies, right? So I figured that root level configuration would continue to be a thing regardless, right? But it's a good conversation for us to have, because if in the long run we believe that we're going to be heading towards gateway only targets, then things might change indeed. With that said, I also have to say that if we only support gateways as target, right? Well, let's imagine this as being a thing. I can also see asks for ways to express root level like conditions for triggering those policies, right? So you target a gateway, but in the end you do not want to make the call out for an external service for every request that passes through your gateway, but only to a smaller set of it, right? Strict set of it. In the same fashion that in Istio's authorization policy, for example, they can target gateways, but they support some matchers for basically HTTP attributes, right? Things like path, methods, etc., right? I can see the same thing happening for us, right? So if we target a gateway, but then we have some way, to express, yes, I want this gateway, but only when the path matches X, which in turn will probably open the other question of, should we be targeting HTTP routes then instead, right? And so on. All I'm saying that I think there's a lot for us, to pull from this thread, until we make a decision. Right now, I'm trying to stick with what we have and build on top of the root level configuration that we have there.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. That's a good starting point. Like we can't, this is we've kind of said with the whole project, we're going to move fast and we're going to just kind of go with, keep on moving. And if we find out in a month from now that we need to adjust, we can adjust. But I think, yeah, let's just try and get external auth in, supportive of that. Great. Okay. Well, I think that may be it. Any other open items we should discuss today? All right. Well, thanks everyone for a good discussion. I think we'll have a few more folks back next week. But it's been a great meeting, and it sounds like there may be one follow-up sometime tomorrow on the observability bits. So yeah, thanks everyone.
That's good.
Thanks, Rob. Thank you all.
Good.